Alright, let's dive into the legend of Jason Voorhees, the dude who's got the ultimate resume in horror movies. I mean, this guy's supposed to be the Michael Jordan of slashers, just racking up the kills. Like he's in a video game with cheat codes. But here's a plot twist for you. What if Jason never actually killed anyone? Yeah, I know, it sounds crazier than a horror movie marathon on a first date. Even I felt like I needed a tinfoil hat when I started thinking about it. But after rewatching the films, I found more plot holes than Swiss cheese, and let me tell you, Jason's story has more myths than an ancient Greek library. So I came up with 3 theories. And surprise, 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 Jason hasn't offed a single soul. Pictures. Jason is actually a guy with some serious challenges, hanging out in the woods, imagining himself as this big bad unstoppable killer. Kind of like when you're in the shower imagining you're a rock star. His seizures are like his own personal movie projector, rolling out fantasies where he's got all the power. But before we get into these theories, let's hit rewind on his backstory. Born in Crystal Lake in 1946 to Pamela Voorhees, Jason got dealt a tough hand with hydrocephalus, explaining his unique look and mental challenges. At 11, he supposedly drowned, and his mom, channeling her inner Liam Neeson, went on a Taken-style rampage against some teens, shutting down Camp Crystal Lake. Fast forward 21 years, and Pamela's back, going all Game of Thrones on 6 more people before losing her head. Literally, after she's gone, Jason supposedly picks up the machete and starts his Revenge World Tour. But I'm not buying tickets to that show. First, let's talk about Jason's supposed drowning. In the second and third films, he's more like a scaredy cat in a hockey mask than an undead terror. He runs, hides, and even looks like he's thinking, ouch, that hurt. This is more like a kid lost in a mall than a malevolent spirit. Plus, his body was never found in the lake, which really sinks the whole drowning story. If he had drowned, we would have seen him bobbing up like a misguided beach ball. But nope, no Jason. A rickety shack in the woods. Really, why would a ghostly slasher need a house or a bathroom? Imagine Jason kicking back, sipping on a cold one, when he's not supposedly out there slicing and dicing. Here's my take, as Jason woke up after his almost drowning experience, wandered off into the woods like a lost puppy, and found an abandoned house to claim as his own. He lived off the land, or more accurately, the garbage bins, and whatever goodies the locals left for him. His condition causes some serious personality shifts and seizures, which would make it pretty tough to be the stealthy, shadowy figure he's made out to be. The guy struggles with walking, gets dizzy, and has trouble focusing. He's more likely to trip over his own feet than silently stalk the woods at night. With all these challenges, the idea of him sneaking around the woods, hunting victims, seems about as likely as finding a unicorn in your backyard. Deep down, Jason Voorhees is really just a big kid at heart, which is why he dreams up this whole persona of being an unstoppable, intimidating grown-up. I mean, who hasn't pretended to be a superhero or rock star in the mirror, right? During his seizures, he dives into a fantasy world where he's getting revenge on his mom's killer, even though he technically checked that box with his first on-screen kill of Alice Hardy. But here's the kicker, all those on-screen slayings. They're just his brain's version of a blockbuster movie. With his serious medical condition limiting both his mental and physical abilities, actually pulling off those violent acts would be like trying to run a marathon with a tricycle. His mind is still stuck in the land of childhood dreams, full of space adventures, battling androids, and even becoming a cyborg. Basically, he's living out every kid's Saturday morning cartoon lineup. Jason's got some major abandonment issues too. Living in isolation, he imagines heart-to-heart chats with his mom, Pamela Voorhees. He can't quite wrap his head around her death, leading him to spin all these violent scenarios to vent his frustration and satisfy the voice in his head. It's pretty clear Pamela isn't dialing in from the afterlife. If she were a ghost, she'd know Jason didn't drown and wouldn't need to go all Dexter on anyone, especially since she already unjustly killed 8 people. But the voice Jason hears, just a hallucination. It's like his imaginary BFF and he doesn't want to let it go. Finishing his mission would mean saying goodbye to the voice of his mom, and who wants to lose their only imaginary friend. Jason's stuck in this endless loop of trying to get revenge to keep his imaginary mom happy, but he never quite nails it, which keeps the hallucination kicking around. That's why he's always getting his butt handed to him in the movies. When he comes out of his seizures, his mind wraps up the story, but the mission is never really over. He leaves himself in this temporary state of defeat until the next seizure, when he jumps back into his fantasy world to take out more imaginary foes. This whole cycle explains why Jason looks like he raided a different Halloween costume shop in each movie. His face, body, clothes, and abilities change as he gets more confident in the dream world he's crafted. The hockey mask, that bad boy stays the same, like his superhero costume, turning his distorted face into a symbol of power. Whenever the mask is removed or damaged, Jason crumbles and reverts to being a scared kid. The axe mark he gets in part 3 shows up on several masks because he sees the mask as his face, with the axe mark as a scar. It's safe to say Jason doesn't know much about the world beyond Crystal Lake. His understanding is limited to his isolated, imaginative bubble. And honestly, who can blame him? It's hard to keep up with world affairs when you're busy battling imaginary androids and space pirates. Jason's worldview is a bit like if a kid was in charge of writing a horror movie script, wildly imaginative but a little off-kilter. In his version of reality, sewers are spewing toxic waste like a bad sci-fi flick. Camp Crystal Lake somehow has beachfront property, and the FBI is sending every last agent into the woods like they're on an all-expenses-paid camping trip. It's as if Jason's got a PhD in how not to get caught, with perfect timing and a level of creativity in his fantasy kills that would make even the most seasoned improv actor jealous. But really, why not just keep it simple and go with the stab everyone plan? Because, well, this is all just part of a seizure-induced daydream from a guy who's still thinking like a kid. Take the whole deal with Jason having Pamela's sweater and head. If she actually managed to off 6 people before being taken down herself, you'd expect a police presence so heavy they'd have to set up a coffee cart just to keep everyone caffeinated. To believe Jason's drowning story, you'd have to imagine him snatching the head and sweater before the cops showed up, going from a mere voice in his mom's head to someone who can pull off a Houdini-level escape with a headless body. Then, he'd have to go all Bear Grylls, setting up camp in the woods for 2 months just to get Alice Hardy, and then hang around like an undead vigilante waiting decades to take out people who weren't even born when his mom kicked the bucket. Sounds more like a plot from a soap opera than a slasher flick, right? And the timeline? Oh boy, the idea of Jason having Pamela's sweater and head only gets crazier. Pamela kicks it in 1979, but her head's a guest star in part 2, set in 1984. Even the best mummies in ancient Egypt would look at that and say, nah, that's not gonna last. So it's more likely that the sweater head and all those kills are just figments of Jason's overactive imagination. Let's close out with a scene from the movies that screams Fantasyland. Tommy Jarvis coming back to stab Jason's corpse in his grave. Jason imagines Tommy as a kid who can take him down because deep down, Jason's still a kid who can't bring himself to hurt other kids. Tommy is his Tyler Durden. The mask and killer persona are just masks, but Tommy is who Jason secretly wants to be. During one of his seizures, Jason dreams of Tommy all grown up, digging up his grave and choosing a metal pole on a stormy night when, really, a shovel would have done the trick. Jason's goal? To impress Tommy, imagining himself being resurrected like Frankenstein's monster. It's the kind of spooky story that would have been all the rage when Jason was a kid, probably something you'd remember seeing on late night TV. He wants his imaginary friend to see he's gotten bigger, badder, and more intimidating since their last showdown, which is why Jason keeps leveling up in the scare department in each film. In the end, all the Friday the 13th events are just playing out in Jason's head. He's survived the drowning and is living in the woods, but thanks to his medical condition and those wild seizures, everything we see after the first film is just his imagination running amok like a kid let loose in a candy store. And there you have it, a peek behind the hockey mask into the wild world of Jason Voorhees, where fantasy blurs with reality and horror icons might just be misunderstood kids at heart. But what do you think? Could it be that all these gruesome tales are simply the product of a child's vivid imagination? Or is Jason truly the ultimate slasher legend? We'd love to hear your thoughts and theories. Share them in the comments below, and let's get the conversation going. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the mythos of Jason Voorhees, make sure to hit that subscribe button and for more intriguing and hilarious explorations into the world of horror. We've got plenty more mysteries to unravel and legends to explore, and you won't want to miss a single chilling adventure. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.